Right guys, so I fitted the Atoto A6 9-inch touchscreen Android head unit to my Volkswagen T4 van. Now, Android head units are nothing new, but this is the first Android I've had. I've always seen mixed reviews on them. I think they've come a long way in 2023. Atoto reckon this has a 2-second boot up time, so there's like no delays, all the apps run super fast, and it's a great way to bring an old vehicle bang up to date with a modern infotainment system. Atoto literally give you the kitchen sink with this product, and what I mean by that is you get all the GPS antenna, the microphone for your phone. They give you every type of connection loom possible for wiring up amplifiers, you know, whatever type of ISO plug fits in your car. All the connections are labelled so you know what they are. If you haven't got an ISO fix, they give you the bare wires and they're all labelled up to tell you what they are. You don't have to spend any extra money when you're buying this to wire up to your car. They make it as simple and give you every option possible, you know, so I think that's amazing of Atoto. They're not trying to make money out of the accessories and the wiring looms. It has some context. I just want to run through the small upgrades I've done to the van that actually connect up to the head unit before we go in and take a deep dive on the head unit itself. Now, I've had this installed for about 3 weeks now or so, so I've had plenty of time to kind of get to install and use the features that I want to use most, and this is how I find it makes my life better using my vehicle. So I've installed a microphone on the air vent to the right of the unit, as you can see in the picture. I prefer doing it that way because it was just nice and easy to clip on, and I pulled the air vent out and run all the cable behind so it was all nice and neat. I've installed a GPS antenna that come with it up in the top right hand corner of my windscreen. Right, so quickly run through what I've actually done. There's some speakers, tiny little speakers mounted on the dashboard. I was just originally going to upgrade them, and I popped the cover and they had Alpine speakers in the top of the dash anyway, just in the little vents, tiny little ones. So my speaker setup for this install is Alpine speakers on the top of the dash. So this van I bought come with these Rockford Fosgate speakers in a little coffee cup holder that was all grubby and horrible, so I've removed the speakers and mounted them in the doors. So by this point I was just going to have the standard dash speakers upgraded cheap. I ended up keeping the Alpines in the dash, the Rockford Fosgate. So I'm setting this unit up with the Alpines as my kind of my highs, top end speakers, the Rockford Fosgates as my mid-range, and then at this point I thought I might as well just go and get a tiny little under-seat sub, so that's exactly what I've done. So hidden really discreetly under that passenger seat is a Phoenix Gold 8-inch sub and a Pioneer amplifier. So Atoto also kindly sent me a rear view camera. Now I've already got an HD mirror system built into this anyway. I've already got front and back HD cameras and dash cams, so I've installed it as an interior cam so I can keep an eye on my bikes in the back falling over, make sure my dog's alright if I take my dog places, which has been pretty handy to have an extra camera feed, or you know, handy to have the extra view of the back behind you whilst you're driving. Right, so in the vehicle now, and I'm about to turn the key on the ignition. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. Exactly as Atoto's state. Let's do that again one more time. Key in the ignition, turn the ignition on. Now, 1. Pretty much spot on. So it's a little bit darked out in here, so I'm not getting too much reflection on the screen so you guys can see clearly, hopefully. So, boots up really fast. I've been using this, like I said, for quite some time now, and it's really responsive. I've had none of the apps crash whatsoever. I've started to build up my apps that I use most frequently on the home screen. Now, one downside that I found with this unit, and there's very few, so don't let it put you off, is these buttons across the bottom here. You've got a home button, forward and back for the track, volume, mute and power button across the bottom here. When it's night time and this screen's bright, you can adjust the brightness, but it's very difficult to see these buttons. Isn't going to be an issue for the majority of you because it's got all the wiring to connect to like the steering volume controls that most cars have. This being an old van, it doesn't actually have steering like volume or anything like that on the steering wheel. So what's also super clever about this unit is it's got a bunch of steering wheel wires that are labelled up, but it's also got an app so you can program it to any type of button. So what I've done is I've got I don't know why randomly this has got manual windows on this van, but it had an electric window button blanked off in the dash. Didn't actually do anything at all. Now I've put a couple of wires to this button here on the right, and when I press up, the volume goes up. When I press down, volume goes down. So that's super easy for me. It's right close to the steering wheel. You could go crazy with it. You could have a button to skip tracks if you haven't got buttons in your steering wheel. Very, very clever. It's got this app here, SWC setup, which I guess is steering wheel control setup. And all you do is simply go into that, and it says here, press and hold a button on the steering wheel to start learning matches, to start learning and matching. Obviously you can program it to do any of these functions to pretty much any button if you're a little bit savvy with wiring up. It's not particularly difficult. If you get a simple button, you can activate voice controls, mute, skip track, telephone, pick up, hang up. You've got all of these. Very simple to do, very clever. I'm really impressed by that, and I love my little... Oh, I shouldn't be pressing this. Let me come out of there, so press the home button. So yeah, straight off the bat, really impressed. I've got the cables in the glove box. Even though I'm not going to use it, I've got the Android cable in the glove box and an extra USB cable. I do plan on plugging in a USB drive with some music files on it. Myself, I've just been using YouTube for music, and the sound quality is fantastic. The app's low quick. I need to connect it to the internet. Talking of which, you can connect this several ways to the internet. I think you could do it through Android Auto. I'm not sure because I haven't used it. You can do mobile hotspot tethering. You can do Bluetooth tethering to your phone. I'm just going to switch on hotspot tethering on my phone. That's just come on. Exactly like an Android phone. Go into your Wi-Fi. It should automatically connect anyway if you set it to remember. That's it. So now YouTube's going to load straight up. Picture quality is fantastic. Right, so you've got this app, R-Cam. That's for the rear cam. I've just wired it up as an internal like, kind of like a rear view mirror if you want to check your hair. Obviously not an issue for me. Check on your dog in the back. Check if your bikes are falling over in the back. That's what I've wired it up for. So you can wire this up as an actual rear view reverse camera, but I've already got one installed in this van, so I didn't feel the need. So that's really helpful. Obviously when I haven't got all these black bags blocking out the daylight, I can see my dog in the back. I can check on the bikes and stuff, so that's great. So it's got inputs for cameras. The equalizer is absolutely fantastic. So let's go into the equalizer. This is one of the features which I was really impressed with. Now you can just go in and draw your frequencies in. You've got, it's on usual at the moment, you've got rock, pop, jazz, cinema, you know, all those settings, but I've just done my own. We've obviously got loudness options. Not sure what switches. Oh wow, okay. Never even knew you had that. See, I'm learning new things with this every day. I'm absolutely astounded by the features. You've got your standard EQ from lows to mids to highs, or you can have it in this format. That's amazing. Just get more surprised by this radio every day. But anyway, so sound field, you can obviously make it more driver's bias, more bias wall to back, depending on your setup. It's got some presets here. Time correction, you wouldn't think that's that important, but I've seen some videos where apparently it does make a huge difference. Now I've got the speakers in the dash and the Rockford Fosgates in the doors, which are literally about a foot away from each other. So it's not an issue for me, but if you've got a vehicle where you've got speakers in the front dash, or you've got an estate car or a car where your rear speakers are, you know, 8-10 feet away or something like that, then it might not sound a lot, but apparently it can make a huge difference adjusting the time delay between, you know, your front and your rear speakers. I'm not sure why it's set like that. I haven't, maybe I'll turn this off. I haven't really, my speakers are too close for me to worry about, so I'm not messing with that. You've got stereo enhancer here. I've not actually played with that, but I'm very tempted now I've seen it. I will be playing with that later, but obviously you've got something to do with low frequencies, high, some kind of audio enhancement. I haven't delved into that yet, but I think I will do soon. Bass boost is something that I have used. Now I've set the subwoofer up. This I found very useful because trying to match the volume of the sub and amplifier hasn't got any separate controls, but it has on this. So when you plug in RCA cables for an amplifier, you've got these two bars. This one seems to adjust the gain and the volume, and you've got a slider here which adjusts your frequencies. So you've got your frequency in hertz there and your gain on the side. That's fantastic. That really lets you fine tune your sub and your bass to match the rest of the speakers in your vehicle. Crossover, absolutely blown away by it. I've set up the high pass and low pass frequencies, so my front Alpine speakers are acting like tweeters, and then my Rockford Fosgates are acted like mid-range, so I've adjusted the frequencies so they're not distorting and I'm getting the best possible sound out of it. These audio features I'm absolutely blown away by. Really, really nice bit of kit. Really lets you adjust and tailor the sound in so many ways. Very, very impressive, because back in the day you just have these little plastic crossover boxes. Don't know if anyone remembers them. This is fantastic having it as digital software, and it works really, really good. You've got, briefly just chat about it because it's not that interesting, but you've got a standard FM radio. Let's turn that off before I end up getting done for using music. I'm not allowed to. I don't know if it's the aerial in this vehicle, but I don't get very strong reception. I can only seem to pick up a couple. I think I've heard people talking about getting antenna boosters, but I don't particularly listen to the radio that much. But you can store your radio stations, give them custom names, all that kind of stuff. So if you like FM radio, no issues there. Right, so got into about device in the settings. It's Android version 10 is the operating system that it's running on. Device name Atoto A6 Performance. Exciting apart from that. But yeah, it's running on Android 10, so it's very similar to just having a decent Android phone. I find it exceptionally fast. I haven't had any freezes. You've got your Android Play Store, so any apps that you want to get, you can install exactly like a phone. So another thing that I use this for is obviously when I'm driving, I've got my Google Maps. So we've got Google Maps installed, which is absolutely fantastic. I've set this on my account because this is quite a bright screen, and at night time it can be a bit distracting. So you can adjust the brightness, but what I've done is, as soon as I've put in a destination on here, it goes straight into night mode, so everything's black. That's not, you know, that's just the Google setting. So I put in a random address. In fact, I put in Annie's address, but you can't see it on the screen, so that's good. And you can see everything's gone to night mode. That's how I've got this set up, so it's not distracting at night, and it's actually really nice having such a big screen. Another thing that I used to use on my phone, which I've managed to set up on here, which is absolutely fantastic, that I don't have to use my phone for sat-nav anymore. I've got the TomTom Amigo app, and what I use that for, it gives you a little pop-up widget for speed cameras, and I think it's absolutely amazing. There we go. So see this little widget here? I can move that anywhere I want. I can have it floating over the map. There you go. I've got my speed wherever I want it. Obviously I'm not moving at the moment, but I use this a lot for travelling about in the van. Google Maps set to night mode. TomTom Amigo for speed camera warnings. It's not distracting at all. You can pop it over in the corner out the way of your route. Brilliant bit of kit. Right, so obviously you can connect to your phone, whether it's via Android Auto. I'm just connected up via Bluetooth and hotspot tethering. I'm not going to go through my own personal phone book, but you've got all the features that you'd have on an Android phone. Obviously, any of the apps you want, if you want to install Firefox, Chrome, any of the apps you use on your Android phone, or if you don't have an Android phone that you want to install, you can get an app for literally anything. Obviously there's probably loads of different ways you connect to play music through USB stick. There's just so many options on this stereo. I'm still honestly finding new things that it does, but in itself, just replacing my phone, having YouTube for music, being able to plug in an MP3 stick. I mean, to be fair, if you're sat parked up somewhere, you're not driving, you could probably just sit there and watch Amazon Prime or Netflix, you know. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Really, really awesome bit of kit. There's obviously a lot more it does, but for me personally, this is what I use it for. YouTube, Google Maps, TomTom. Great to have an internet browser at hand. You know, it could do so many more functions I've yet to discover or think of with terms of the sort of limitless amount of apps on the Play Store. So there you have it then guys, that's the Atoto A6. Don't forget that this comes in 7-inch widescreen if you don't want something quite as big as a 9-inch. I absolutely love it. I'm sure I'm going to have it more and more tailored and custom to my needs. Especially with an older vehicle, I don't feel like I'm missing out on any technology or connectivity to my phone, to the internet, to, you know, all the mods and cons that you get nowadays. Andy jumped in this the other day and he said it's like a Tesla inside here now, you know. It's got the big screen that does all sorts of stuff. Doesn't self-drive unfortunately, but definitely would recommend it. You know, my point about the amount of money you can waste on a top brand big named touchscreen head unit is absolutely ridiculous. You're talking like north of £600 easily UK money. I don't think it's worth it. Like the sound quality, the processor speed, the picture quality, the features, absolutely flawless on this. Like I said, the only small gripe I can think of is the buttons down the bottom don't light up. It's not going to be an issue for those with steering controls, but it gives you the option with an app and the extra wires to program buttons to do everything you want. So I just can't knock it really. For the money, it's a no-brainer. Price wise, brilliant value for money, awesome bit of kit. I'm going to keep this as long as I can. Just really nice head unit. I definitely recommend people upgrade to it. Stick the links for this unit in the video description. Let me know in the comments if you end up fitting it to your car, what you think. If you've got an Android head unit, what it's like. If you're not happy with the one you've got, definitely think about upgrading to one of these because it's an awesome bit of kit. That's it for this video. I'll speak to you guys in a video soon. Take it easy.